Testing, testing.
Yep.
Hi, Les. I'm just testing audio. If you could please confirm that you can hear me in the Spanish channel. Thank you. Yes, you can stay in the Spanish channel. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Hi, Ladna. Just wanted to test audio. Muchas gracias. Yes, we can hear you. Thank you. Yes, go ahead. I, I'm going to call you, Les, because the meeting is live already.
Mike's not here. To the flag.
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. A roll call, please.
Director Hodges,
Here.
Here. Director Rosen,
Here.
Director Hatcher,
Here.
Director Lamnan,
Here.
President Andrade.
Here.
Thank you.
Just an announcement, as this meeting is being translated, please speak at a moderate pace, enunciate clearly, and ensure you speak directly into the microphone. Okay. 4.1, June Volunteer of the Month. Daniela.
Good evening, Board of Directors. I'm Danielle.
Red button.
Push the button.
Oh, now it's red. It wasn't red. Okay. Good evening, Board of Directors. I'm Daniela Kiefer, Recreation Supervisor, and I have the pleasure of introducing Jean Carey, our June Volunteer of the Month. Jean volunteers at the Kenneth Aiken Senior and Community Center for our senior programs. She comes in at least twice a week and shares her expertise and great personality with us. On Thursday afternoons, she is the front desk volunteer, which is an important job because it's always the first person that people see. And she's always very welcoming and busy with answering phones, taking lunch reservations, and just, you know, helping us there in the office. Jean actually came to us and offered to volunteer after she moved here from Southern California. And so she started with the 1 day a week. And then as she was working with us, she asked if she could do a second day, and she wanted to do board games. So we added that to the schedule, and it started with a few people, but now we have over 20 people. And she's a retired school teacher, and a lot of those skills as a retired school teacher come into great play at the senior center, like, you know, teaching everybody to be kind and respectful, and being firm when she needs to be, but also being compassionate and friendly. So that's, you know, really valued here at the senior center. And then I just learned something recently about her, which I thought was really neat, is that Jean used a lot of her vacation time to go out and work in developing countries. And she visited many countries in South America and would help with farming and building things. And then even took her grandson there so he could learn about being appreciative and grateful for the things that we have here. So I thought that was really neat. And I'm just, you know, pleased to know you and have you volunteering with us. So thank you, Jean.
Well,
And
say a few
would you like to say a few words? And her daughter is here, and her friend Frank Mellon is here. Jean, if you'd like to say a few words.
Well, I promised Daniela I would keep my speech under an hour. So all I want to say is it's fun working with this crazy lady. And I want to thank you for honoring me. And I want to thank HARD for making seniors' lives better, because at the front desk, I see them come in and sometimes maybe they lost a spouse and they live alone. I live alone. I'm a senior. I live alone. And I can see as they start getting into a class or meeting people, it helps lift them up. So thank you for all you do. Is an hour up?
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. We have a photo for opportunity here, so.
Gold star, you know, gold star. For effort, yeah. Thank you.
Raymond first. because they're short enough.
This is our,
Oh, thank you.
Over here.
Maybe you turn around.
Thank you. All right, I have you look at me. 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Thank
All
you.
right, well, like I said,
Thank you.
I see.
Yeah, it's demographic is really vocal. And
It's
like,
amazing.
Yeah.
So.
Wow. Thank you.
I see, like I say, you know, I know a woman came in and she lost her husband. 30 years. But over the months, she got into a class, she met some people. And
See, that's the goal.
so, yeah, so you'd be great.
These guys.
All of you.
Thank you for helping make it happen.
Well,
Yes, thanks.
like I say, Danielle as a kid.
Absolutely.
Ready?
All right, we got.
We're good. You can hang out for a meeting. Like the receiving line? Yeah.
And the message is we by no means have to stay unless you, you will not offend us.
Oh.
Yeah, you can stay if you like, but
Roast.
but you should know that July is Parks and Recreation Month, and we're gonna do a proclamation here.
Dear Honorable Board of Directors, Nicole Espinoza Roa, Assistant to the General Manager and Public Information Officer, and I'm going to go ahead and read the proclamation. Whereas Parks and Recreation is an integral part of communities throughout this country, including the greater Hayward area, California, and whereas Parks and Recreation promotes health and wellness, improving the physical and mental health of people who live near parks, and whereas Parks and Recreation promotes time spent in nature, which positively impacts mental health by increasing cognitive performance and well-being and alleviating illnesses such as depression, attention deficit disorders, and Alzheimer's. And whereas Parks and Recreation encourages physical activities by providing space for popular sports, hiking, trails, swimming pools, and many other activities designed to promote active lifestyles. And whereas Parks and Recreation is a leading provider of healthy meals, nutrition services, and education. And whereas Parks and Recreation programming and education activities, such as out-of-school time programming, youth sports, and environmental education, are critical to childhood development. And whereas Parks and Recreation increases a community's economic prosperity through increased property values, expansion of the local tax base, increased tourism, the attraction and retention of businesses, and crime reduction. And whereas Parks and Recreation is fundamental to the environment well-being of our community, and whereas Parks and Recreation is essential and adaptable infrastructure that makes our communities resilient in the face of natural disasters and climate change, and whereas our parks and natural recreation areas ensure the ecological beauty of our community and provide a place for children and adults to connect with nature and recreate outdoors. And whereas the U.S. House of Representatives has designated July as Parks and Recreation Month, and whereas the greater Hayward area recognizes the benefits derived from parks and recreation resources, now therefore, let it be resolved by Hayward Area Recreation and Park District that July is recognized as Park and Recreation Month in the greater Hayward area.
Right. And no vote is required there, so thank you. We all agree with that. 4.3 retirement proclamation for somebody near and dear.
Good evening, President Johnny, Honorable Board, James Wheeler, General Manager. This evening, I have the pleasure of trying not to lose it while I read this proclamation for Chris Peterson. Almost 36 years of service, 191 board meetings later. Right? We are here honoring someone whose dedication to the district is pretty much unmatched. from what I know of the district at least. Chris has been a constant force behind the scenes, helping shape parks, programs, and policies that will serve generations down the road. Over the years, of course, his story is pretty cool. He worked his way up from maintenance construction worker in 1989 to senior maintenance and construction worker in 2003, and then maintenance construction supervisor in 2018, and now serves as the Parks and Facilities Maintenance Director. Each role is a testament to hard work, leadership, and deep commitment to public service. I think Chris is, for me personally, a person who struggles about who comes into our profession and what they do and how long they last. Chris is a model of someone who's been committed to public service. And doing this for this long in one place is absolutely incredible. And I think the whole community ought to thank and feel good about his commitment over time. I love the picture there. We got long-haired, mustached Chris, and then we got some hair, mustache Chris. So it's my privilege now to read a proclamation recognizing Chris Peterson and his incredible career. Whereas Chris Peterson began his career with the Hayward Area Recreation and Park District in 1989, dedicating the next 35 years to enhancing the quality of life for the residents of Ashland, Cherryland, Castro Valley, Fairview, Hayward, and San Lorenzo through Parks and Recreation. Whereas Chris, over the course of his remarkable career, demonstrated unwavering commitment, professionalism, and passion for Parks and Recreation, leaving a legacy defined by excellence, integrity, and genuine care for the public he served. And whereas Chris's leadership and collaborative spirit helped shape countless initiatives, programs, and park improvements that have brought joy, wellness, and connection to thousands of residents. And whereas Chris served not only as a skilled and dependable professional, but also as a mentor, role model, and friend to colleagues across the district, fostering a culture of respect, teamwork, and community pride. And whereas the knowledge, expertise, and historical perspective Chris brought to his work have been instrumental in preserving and advancing the district core values and long-term vision and making his general manager not look dumb. Whereas while Chris may be retiring from his official duties, the impact of his work and spirit will continue to be felt in every park, trail, facility, and program he helps steward and inspire. Now, therefore, be it resolved and proclaimed that the Hayward Area Recreation and Park District does hereby recognize and honor Chris Peterson on his retirement and extends heartfelt appreciation for his outstanding service, leadership, and dedication to the mission of enriching lives daily. Thank you, Chris. So on this one. So on this one, we're gonna take two pictures. If you please present Chris the proclamation, and then I'd like to get a picture of him with everybody sitting in here. Staff people, the leadership team. I have one for my wall. Dude, I don't think I like you as much as I thought, because I didn't even try.
Yeah, I was gonna get in the dark one. Like with all of us. Okay.
Yes. Proclamation. Short sleeve dress shirts.
I hope you're ready.
You think those are okay? I think I'm going short sleeve. I'm tired of this.
Go for it. All right, Jim, who else would you like to pick?
I would like you guys, and then I'd like the leadership team. Someone can take the picture for you, maybe Daniela.
Yeah.
Kimberly. Oh, Kimberly's. Too.
Oh, or you do.
No, you guys are going.
Yeah. There's no escape for you. Thanks for.
I want a
I know,
picture.
thanks, yeah.
The only picture I have.
I just like you said, you guys take.
You and me and Paul on roller derby day. We know what that picture is.
Do you need another thing?
No, in fact, I have that one printed the other day.
I was waiting for it.
Come on, guys.
You gotta work tonight though, so. He gets to leave after this, right?
This is working right up.
Okay.
to
You're working till the 30th.
Friday from 11, I saw it here around here, if you guys want to come, we're inviting some people, not everybody, but. You guys.
There's just a few, yeah.
Well,
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Thanks, Danielle.
Yeah, on behalf of the board, congratulations, Chris, and we'll see you at Rail Ranch soon, okay? Okay, yeah, see you at the ranch, okay? Public comments, this is for items not otherwise listed on the agenda. Is there anyone here to speak on any item or non-item? Is there anyone on our Zoom meeting or electronically that wishes to speak?
There is no one online with their hand raised for public comment.
Okay. We're going to move to the consent calendar. I believe there's 12 items on the consent calendar. Is anyone wish to pull any item?
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, I'm good.
6.11.
6.11. Peter,
6:10
6:10.
and I think that's it. That's
Okay. Anything else? It's the same one. All right. Okay. I guess we'll have a motion to approve everything except 6:10 and 6:11. Do I have a motion, please?
I'll move to accept everything except 6:10 and 6:11.
Okay. Okay, motion by Director Hatcher and second by Director Hodges. No discussion, please vote. Okay. Okay, all right, so we pulled 6:10, so the motion carries unanimously. Moving on.
7, 8, 9, and 12.
Okay, everything except 10 and 11. So would
So,
you want to start with 6:10?
yeah, President Johnny, Honorable Board, Nicole Roa, was the person that put this in your packet, so we'll let her answer your questions, Director Rosen.
I just wanted to clarify, I just wanted to talk about it really quickly. When I first looked at it, I'm like, wow, a camera, is only about $4,000. And then I looked at it and, you said mobile, and then I looked at, and I dug into it, and the little trailer
You
with,
looked at the little picture of it online, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah, it's okay.
And
Good job.
the trailer with the solar, and then it's got mobile technology so that it's going to continuously communicate. This is something that is a long-term investment. It's not just for that one site. It's when we open up new facilities, when it goes around, the usability of this is, it's going to be huge. And I'm very happy about it. And I actually think it's going to be very effective. And I actually think it's going to be more secure. And I think that this is more than just a camera, is what I was getting at.
Yes, and we did look up the cost to rent them, and they rent for over $1,400 a month, including $1,000 setup fee. So with that, it will definitely be cost savings over time. And this will allow us to move it to areas of, for example, Cannery Park, where getting the electrical or the internet accessibility is a little difficulty. We could put that in to help deal with some of the graffiti issues and stuff at that site.
Yes, I just wanted to explore it further and talk about it further because I think it's a great thing. So thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, I actually feel remiss, like this was long overdue. And you see them everywhere where there's problems with security and vandalism. And so, I actually am very excited I probably am more excited about buying this than anything we bought, including all the big fancy things that roll around. This is pretty sweet.
One question, Mr. President.
Please.
So I did not look it up in detail of the actual how mobile it is. Like, what could it also be used when we have like special events we set up the night before so that we can bring in for
Small trailer.
a couple nights and then, okay.
Yeah, it's
great.
it's the blue flashing security lights you see with a four-way trailer up on a four-way cameras up on a pole. This is pretty much that. Solar powered, parks where it is, needs no plugins. I'm sure, I don't know if you're aware, I might have told you, we had some people using the pump track. We kicked them out. They came back and did some pretty serious vandalism to the planting and all the stuff at Tennyson Park. So we looked at renting one, and when Nicole looked up renting one, she's like, Jim, maybe we should buy one. I'm like, you know what? I think you're right. So her and Jose suggested we buy one. It will go when Tennyson's done. It will go to the next park we're developing, or the parking lot, or the property we buy, or whatever's getting vandalized. I think the next place we talked about, we all agreed, was probably Cannery Park. Just parking it at Cannery Park to try to see if we can reduce the graffiti there next. So.
And it also links into our complete video system. So the systems that are at the district office or at other parks, everything links together.
Yeah, a full contract.
Correct.
When do we get it? Is it?
Found one this week.
When we call them tomorrow, we're probably about 4 to 6 weeks out, but he said he could push it for us to be a little quicker.
And Megan and Capital said there's money in the project. Marvin said there's money in the project to put that, a rental one out there at Tennyson this week for about 4 to 6 weeks until it arrives. So I appreciate that too, because it's how many million on that project? 15? 11? $11.5 million project, and they literally probably went in and tore up about $50,000 or more worth of drought resistant and grass and planting and stuff. So it's just not.
Any other comments on that item? If not, please, if I could have a motion.
So moved.
Moved by Director Rosen. Second by anybody?
Second.
Second by
Okay.
Director Lemon. With no other comments, please vote. Motion carries unanimously. 6.11.
Okay, President Andrade, Honorable Board of Directors, James Wheeler, General Manager. And tonight before you, we have an item. So we were sent, well, actually we weren't sent. We were sent a letter that was supposed to have ballots in it for the voting, whether or not, we were notified that there would be a vote for assessments in a certain area of Zone 2 of the flood control. And we happen to just have 5 or 6 properties in that zone, I think. They sent us the letter informing us there would be a vote. They told us that the votes had to be turned in by June 17th. I told them I never got my ballots. They sent me replacement ballots. Plus then we received them by mail. The vote basically is the flood control district would like to pass an assessment on to the people living in this area to be able to theoretically mitigate and working on flood control for the next 20 to 30 years is what their letter said that I think's in your packet. The total amount of assessments would be $10,000. And I also know, speaking to a couple of you, that there's some differing opinions on whether this is good or bad. My only statement would be, we know that sometimes we've been challenged working with that agency on projects and things. But I think part of that problem may be they just don't have the funding to deal with the massive flood control problems that we're gonna have in the next 20 to 30 years here. So I don't really have an opinion either way, but I did not want to make this decision myself. So I told them I was bringing it to my board and you guys could decide which way you want to vote, and they're going to pick up the ballots in the morning to make the timeline. So that's my report.
So the question here is for us to say yes or no on this.
You basically, so my staff recommendation, excuse me. The recommendation is to authorize the general manager to vote.
Okay.
I would look for direction from you this evening on which way to vote without you having to formally take a vote on the vote. You tell me what you want your direction, and I will vote as the board pleases without us actually having to take action for or against this assessment.
So would
Please go
you,
ahead.
thank you. So should we do this in 2 pieces? One, take a vote on authorizing you to vote, and then maybe have a brief discussion on,
Why don't
Direction
you
of
guys
it or how?
decide what you want to do and then authorize me to vote? We'll do it. We'll do what you're saying, but we'll reverse it maybe.
okay, All right. So I'll kick that off. That's okay.
Please.
So I certainly am happy to have you vote on behalf of the district. Thank you for doing that. My vote, and I'm happy to speak more to this, but in the interest of time, I'll simply say my vote is actually no.
Well, might as well talk about it. I mean, it doesn't, I think the interest of time, it doesn't matter if you have some other arguments. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, I think while it's probably a small district, I don't know their finances. And it's not a small thing to say no to another district, who is looking for money. But I think that they haven't, for me as a voter and for me as a steward of other people's votes, they haven't made the case, for this bond or for this amount of money. Their transparency, their collaboration, their community engagement have not been where I would like to see them be. And I think they'll have another opportunity to do this. That's not a small thing, but I said it when they came to HASPA that there needed to be more work before this went to vote. I haven't seen that work, and so I can't say yes to this request.
Any other comments? Director Hatcher?
Yeah, I agree with the majority of your comment, Director Lamden. I lived on the San Lorenzo Creek at Western and Hampton for over 20 years. And right when I bought the house, I met with some folks from when the flood control district was very progressive, and they're looking at ways to actually mitigate, to bring fish back up, many years ago. And we've seen that not happen, obviously. And then the way the direction of the Alameda Flood Control, and we've, as the general manager said, challenging discussions with them. But with that said, one of the engineers told me 20 years ago that at that section, the flood control channel is a high flow channel, was built for 9,000 cubic feet per second, and that the less than 100-year flood is over 11,000 cubic feet per second. So you have hyper accelerated water overflowing its banks, eroding everything around there. So we understand the enormity of how many miles that they have, what the flood control district has stated over the last months and years in regards to their stewardship of their areas. Agree process is important, transparency is important, but I would hate to delay a vote like this for passing this proposition in lieu of what it might do to infrastructure, as well as the homes and people along that creek and many of the flood control channels. So I think the bigger issue is these are supervisor questions and discussions that we need to have, rather than delaying infrastructure that needs to go to an agency that we well know needs a better organizational structure to put that forward. So my vote would be yes.
Thank you. Paul or Peter?
I vote, yes, with Rick.
Peter?
So I share some of these concerns. The agency is, I agree with the general manager's comments and along with what Director Lamden and Hatcher both said. My experiences with flood control have been less than stellar as far as responsiveness and as far as not just progressive, but about what's going to be needed and what are they going to do. And I haven't heard any answers. They haven't made, as was mentioned, they haven't made the case for what they're going to do with this. Normally I would expect, if someone's sending out a bond or an assessment that's like, hey, we're going to do this and this. I didn't hear them say, hey, this would incentivize them to join HASPA, or this would mean that they would fast track the trails along the flood controls, or that they would put up the fish ladders, or they would start doing some restoring of some of the creeks, or they would be doing more resiliency for climate change. I mean, after all, I did hear the director of flood control specifically say in a meeting that it's not flood control's responsibility to have to worry about sea level rise. It's not something that was in their purview. I mean, these are some key things that I'm concerned with. And as much as I have these concerns, I also understand they need more money. But I'm not sure that if they get more money, if they're going to be more accountable or take care of these things. It seems like they're just saying we need more money and then walking out of the room. So I'm going to reluctantly vote no on this, because I don't think they've demonstrated and made a case that at this time, and I think that there's an opportunity, and maybe that they will when if they don't get enough votes this time. So I'm gonna push for a no vote.
I'm going to go for a no vote reluctantly, and that's because it was kind of insulting the way they approached this thing. They have made no really community effort, zero. Here we are, we're trying to do a bond, and we sweat bullets to do a bond, and we, you know, I mean, we bent over backwards to make sure that people know what we're doing and what we're about. And then here's this organization that nobody, the common people, common voters don't really know anything about them. Now, I agree, I'm torn because I agree that the infrastructure is critical and will likely get more flooding. And you have places that haven't had a 100-year-old flood in now all of a sudden they're getting like 1,000-year-old floods every other year, you know. So it's kind of scary. And I've seen the damage. The last time it flooded, like where the A Street, yeah, you know, you said, you know, it was pretty amazing. So I'm really kind of torn, but I think that they really need to do an outreach that is not insulting, because this is like a triple or not. I mean, it's like this huge, like 10 times more assessment, and because they have some. I mean, I guess as legislator, there's certain special legislator where they can increase taxes with just a quick vote like this. You know, I just find it mind blowing. So I would say no, just because of that.
So to make sure I'm clear, in case I do speak to someone from flood control. Oh, did you have more to say, Director?
No,
I
that-
wanted to
just-
take back my yes vote and make it a no.
All right.
Okay.
And the reason is we tried to get them on, this short.
ASPA.
yeah,
They're not on
besides
ASPA.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I believe the quote was sea level rise is not flood control. That's what we heard.
Yeah.
So, Director Hatcher, you're gonna hold, right?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah,
Thanks.
you actually live like right there on the creek, close. I'm just kidding.
I grew up next to the creek as well.
You have property on the creek. That's why we're not taking a vote. Okay, so, what I would like to be able to tell, Director.
Vote best instead.
The director of flood control, if asked, I would like to tell him that whereas we would not be opposed to paying this assessment if we knew what the plan was for the assessed dollars, what the potential amount of those dollars is, and if there's any projects or priorities or things that you could share with us as we make sure that we see this assessment benefiting the community, because our properties benefit the community. Does that work?
Yeah, that sounds good.
To just tell them we need to know what, we might have been more inclined to vote in favor of this assessment had we had more information on what would come of it. Is that what you were kind of saying, Director Rosen and Lamnin? I think I heard in the initial.
Both us and the community at large.
Yeah. Okay. I will make sure to check 6 boxes this evening and sign it off. Thank you. You do need to vote to authorize me to vote.
Okay, motion by
I'll move that we authorize you to vote.
I'll second.
motion by Director Lamnin, second by Director Rosen. Please vote. The motion carries unanimously. Okay, item 7.1, a correspondence from Valleywide Recreation District.
Oh, yeah, sorry, I'm slightly lost here. I know we just said it was 7.1 right there. It is.
Right.
Yes, good evening, President Andrade, Honorable Board of Directors, Jim Wheeler, General Manager. We got a nice letter from Dean Wetter and his Board of Directors in Valleywide Recreation District. Dean is the current president of CARPD, Peter, or the outgoing, I think he might be outgoing. He's in the executive committees
He's
for
the outgoing, yeah,
CARPD.
yeah.
We were just at the conference. We got an award for Ashland Zocalo Park as an outstanding new facility. We received an award that we had submitted for the Alameda County Public Health Department. And we received an award for Kennedy Park as a landmark. Just on a side note, I plan on reaching out to County Public Health and figuring out where we can present that to them at a supervisors meeting or something. We're gonna give them that plaque because we have a couple plaques, and thank them for their help. But this is one piece of correspondence we get that basically said congratulations and recognize your remarkable achievements. And so that was very kind of them. So we wanted to share that with you. My 7.2 piece of written correspondence is a letter from Ursula Dixon, who is now the district attorney, letting us know here's some members of her leadership team that we could contact if we needed anything, and just introducing herself, which I thought was a pretty classy move. I hadn't seen this from many electeds in the last 5 or 6 years. So we look forward to Ursula and her overcoming some of the challenges that we've seen in the district attorney's office over the past few years. And I think she's a good candidate for that. So we appreciate her letter.
Great. Thank you. Moving on to public hearings. We'd have a public hearing regarding the operating budget for fiscal 25-26. So Jim, do you want to start that? Or introduce? Wow.
President Andrade, honorable board members, my name is Natalie Wong. I'm the Human Resources Manager here. I was given the responsibility this year to coordinate our annual budget process, and it's my honor to introduce you to Drew Corbett, who's going to provide us with a presentation about the budget for the next fiscal year.
Good evening, Board President Andrade and members of the board. Drew Corbett, DKG Consultants, to talk about the budget adoption for fiscal 25-26. So the actions requested tonight of the board are to hold a public hearing on the 25-26 budget and then adopt a resolution to do 5 things. Adopt the 25-26 operating budget, appropriations limit, full-time equivalent headcount listing, the salary schedule, and the district investment policy. So just briefly, I want to give you an overview of the all funds budget summary. So you'll be requested to approve the budget for 5 different district funds, the largest of which is your general operating fund. The spending plan for that fund is $48.3 million over the course of the next fiscal year, which would leave your ending balance at approximately $23.3 million. The main point I want to make with that is that with the spending plan and the revenue plan, your reserve requirements will continue to be met. Your reserve targets, will continue to be met. So that would be your $10 million cash flow reserve and your 25% operating reserve. I also wanted to note that the Capital Projects Fund is governed by a separate 5-year capital improvement plan and is not included as part of this budget adoption. So in terms of the general fund summary, there's a lot of numbers on this page. We went over these at the study session in May. I want to just bring your attention to the 2 columns on the right, the 25-26 proposed and the 25-26 updated. We have made a number of adjustments since the study session, and I'll go over those key adjustments on the next slide. But the bottom line is that the proposed spending plan for next year is $30,000 higher than what you saw in May at the study session. With respect to the details on that, we had a number of adjustments that were made. First and foremost, we recalculated the salary and benefits costs to make some adjustments and reallocate certain benefits costs. I think we mentioned that at the study session as we were continuing to work through the implementation of the new financial system. We needed to reallocate some costs. That initial action actually reduced the budget by about $50,000. However, in the interim between May and now, there was an agreement with SEIU on compensation increases. And so the budget was updated to reflect that, as well as assumed updates to unrepresented employee compensation costs. The main difference between May and today with respect to that was that the original budget assumed a 3% COLA for all employees. The agreement that's going to, I believe, be approved tonight had not only the 3% COLA, but also salary adjustments to get certain positions to the market. And that was above and beyond what was expected in the original budget, which again was a 3% COLA. So that significantly increased costs over what we had originally thought. And so what was done was the general manager's contingency in the amount of $250,000 was removed from the 25-26 budget to mitigate the impact of that. And so the result of all those changes was that the general fund budget is up $30,000 over what was presented in May. So moving on to the appropriations limit, the appropriations limit is a state mandated spending limit. The appropriations limit calculation for 25-26 is based on the existing 24-25 appropriations limit. With the increase in state per capita income, as well as a slight increase in county population, the appropriations limit for 25-26 went up by almost $3 million. Your expenditures subject to the appropriations list are at $37.2 million, leaving the district well below the appropriations limit by the amount of, in the amount of about $9.4 million. So no issues with the appropriations limit. The FTE listing is the same as what you saw in May at the study session. There's a proposal for one additional position to be added to the Administrative Services Department and one additional position to be added to the Recreations, Art, and Community Services Department, leaving the district with a proposal for 161.5 FTE for the 25-26 fiscal year. And then finally, the last two items, the salary schedule. The salary schedule has been updated to reflect the MOU and unrepresented employee related increases to the salary ranges. Those will be effective on June 28th, which is the beginning of a pay period. And as I mentioned previously, that includes the increases to get positions up to market as well as the 3% COLA. And then the last item is the district investment policy. The investment policy is reviewed and approved annually, and there are no recommended changes to this policy for 25-26. Again, the items requested of the board tonight are to hold a public hearing on the 25-26 budget and then adopt a resolution that will approve the 25-26 operating budget, appropriations limit, FTE listing, salary schedule, and district investment policy. That concludes my presentation. I'm happy to take any questions.
Any questions from the board? Director Landos first.
So thank you very much for all the work on the budget and for all of the information and the clarity. I am glad that it was possible to get the new contract in, and congratulations on concluding that negotiations. I admit to a little bit of concern about the salary only things, but I also think that if we're ever going to try that, this is the time to do that. And I appreciate how well balanced this budget is. So, given the contract, there are internal adjustments that then happen. That's also accounted for in this budget.
Yes, everything's been accounted for in the budget.
We actually stopped and took a half a step back, and I gotta thank Drew for taking the extra time because they're like, it's not, we gave you exactly what the spending plan will be.
I really appreciate that. Thank you. So yeah, so congratulations on a very excellent year. For anybody who's reading and doesn't know, there's lots of great accomplishments in this budget, great goals for the new year. So I just really wanted to take a moment and thank the team. You all do amazing things, and it's well reflected in this document. And very excited about the ROP partnership that's coming up for maintenance services. Thank you for that. And a thought about, I understand the focus on graffiti abatement, and I appreciate that. And I think there may be an opportunity there to partner with graffiti artists to see about really thinking about how do we deal with that in a lasting way. So happy to talk offline a little bit more about that, but appreciate all of that. Thank you.
Okay. I think Director Hatcher had a question.
Yeah, thank you for the presentation. Just a little definition on the removal of the 250,000 GM discretionary funds. How does it affect I didn't know that was to bring it up to bring it balanced, but kind of give me a sketch of what that affects in the.
I can tell you that in the last 4 years I've been GM, I think we've dipped into that one time my first year coming out of the pandemic when we weren't really sure of some costs. I haven't used it. So I want to thank you for considering passing this deficit budget. It's honestly for me too, in like 35 years, I think I've seen that happen once. I feel so very confident in what we're building in the staff and our ability to meet these new concessions to the union and our workers that I don't think it's really going to be a problem. We never fully spend what we're doing and we can project, but we never know. But we felt that if we take the contingency out, we get some projections, there's some vacancy savings. This isn't really a 700 and plus $1,000 budget deficit. This is probably maybe 1 or 200,000 at the end of the day if things don't go as we expect. We expect it to probably neutral out. So I appreciate it, and I do appreciate that question, Director Hatcher.
Yeah, no, I think that's something that, you know, over the last couple of years, you know, I carry glossies of our parks, but I carry the budget around and it has shined as bright as our new parks do. It obviously is a document that is taking its, you know, years to develop to where we're at now. And I think that we've delivered on this. And you guys have, you know, been conservative yet still aggressive on satisfying the public's need for what we provide. So I think it's a testament to these numbers and really taking, when you say that pause, you know, I think we're told to do that when we speak, we're told to do that when we think, and it's really great to see when we act as a public agency that we're taking that really to heart on so many levels. So that was really my only question. Appreciate the
And
work.
the only other thing I'll say about the contingency is it does kind of hurt me because I will no longer be able to look at Chris Peterson while you're leaving and say, don't worry about it. Take it out of your budget. If you have no money at the end of the year, you can have some of mine. That's the only thing that's gone now. So.
Okay. Well, Director Rosen?
Yeah, it's funny because that was pretty much, that was word for word. The only change was I was going to say, well, how does this impact? And he said, how does this affect?
There's, you know, I am not going to sit here in public and say that there's a lot of wiggle room in this budget and we can, but if you remember the budget rules, interdepartment, Adrian can move money wherever she wants within the entire budget. I can move it between departments. And we just feel like we've never overspent. We've never come into the end of the year, you know, and I like my staff, we talk about it, you know, if you can get me 3% over in revenue and 2% under expenditure, when you talk about a $44 million budget, that's the gap. And, you know, Drew, I'm so glad we have Drew, and Natalie has worked with Drew well, but you know, when Drew looks at me and says it's going to be okay, and that's only, Jim, it's a drop in the $45 million picture. And I go, thank you for reminding me of that. So, yeah. So I appreciate your understanding of that.
But once again, I want to echo Director Lambden's comments and part of Director Hatcher's comments. This budget document doesn't just tell our story. It relates to, you know, not only our priorities and our accomplishments, but where we're going department by department. It's something that the public can read and feel secure. And then they look at the financials and they're like, oh, you know, that backs it up. But the way that this budget document is I don't know of anybody else that does this. The way that it's set up tells our story in a way that exudes confidence, makes the public proud of what we're doing. And I keep looking back on it. Each of the departments should feel proud of the work that they're doing and everything. You know, Chris, you're leaving us in good hands compared to, you know, where it was a few years ago. Yes.
Prior, there was millions of dollars of overspending in part-time labor just prior to my arrival here. And I'm not saying that because I fixed anything, but that was,
and
it was kind of a problem before the new guard kind of came in
and deferred maintenance on vehicles and equipment and all these other things that now we know we've invested back in the district in a way that not only do costs get cut, but for the long term, we're going to be secure. And this budget document shows it very well. So thank you for clarifying it and for making it coherent, which these things are not always. So thank you.
And your budget document, as you recall, gets sent to 120 different people on the VIP list to help them explain like what we're doing. And you're right. It's a great document. Thank you, Nicole, Natalie, all the department heads, Drew, everyone who wrote narratives, brought the policies in. It is, and we're hoping that we're gonna get the big award finally, because we think the third try is a charm.
Great.
From what, the California State Finance Officers and
That's right.
Municipal Finance Officers?
Yes.
Director Hodges?
Yeah, I'll make it short. In my mantra, I always say, in finance department, we trust.
Well, only thing I could say is this, it's kind of been said in different ways, but this provides a roadmap and it's very clear as to where we've been and where we're going. And that's something that in my years here, this is since the new guard, if you want to put it that way, it's a lot more clear and it's just more certainty, provides a lot more certainty for the board. So I really appreciate the work you guys have done. So this is a public hearing, so I'm going to announce any member of the audience who wishes to address the
Quisiera
board.
si tiene alguna miembro de aquí en la reunión que gustaría
As you're in the
dar un comentario.
Okay, shall I try that again?
let me,
Yes, please. I don't know what happened. Let me switch to Spanish. Sorry.
If any member of the audience would like to address the board, you have 3 minutes to do so. When your name is called, please unmute yourself and begin your comments. I see no one in the audience that from the public, but maybe there's someone online.
no, we do not have any hands raised for public comment online.
Okay, if that's the case, I'm going to close this public hearing and call for board discussion if anyone wishes to make further comments. Okay, hearing none. There's 5 items, and I guess someone needs to list all those 5 items, or can we just refer to the staff recommendation for the motion?
Vamos a hacer un aceptar la moción.
Give me 1 second. Let's still trying to work on it.
I can make a motion. Okay.
Motions? I got it. Okay, President Andrade, Honorable Board. So staff recommends the Board of Directors conduct a public hearing to receive input on the proposed operating budget and at the conclusion of the public hearing, adopt a resolution approving the 25-26 operating budget, which includes all district funds except the capital project fund, which is governed by the 5-year capital improvement plan. The 25-26 appropriations limits as reflected in section 2 of the budget document, page 16. The fiscal year 25-26 full-time employee FTE listing reflecting all authorized positions for the new fiscal year and outlining the changes from the current fiscal year as shown in section 5 of the incredible budget document, page 41. The salary schedule to become effective June 28th, 2025, 3 days before the end of the fiscal year. For all regular full-time employees as shown in section 5 of the budget document, pages 42 to 43, and the district investment policy 3100 as shown in section 5 of the budget document, pages 46 to 62, and I believe that is my recommendation.
Thank you. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Is moved. Okay. Moved by Director Rosen, second by Director Hodges to approve as read the budget. Please vote.
Broke it. Oh, you broke it.
I still trust him. Yes.
Now,
Got 3 days to re-vote on this.
While you're voting, unless you're done now,
we're done.
I really, from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank Drew Corbett for guiding us through a budget process for our second year. We brought Drew in to help when we started implementing Wyatt. As we were going into budget development last year, we kept Drew to help with the budget development this year. And honestly, I'm going to keep Drew to help with budget development next year because we hope to have the Wyatt system kind of up and implemented, which means we'll be pushing. I know we told you when we were requesting it in study sessions that we were looking at potentially other positions and things, but we feel like we need to close the year, get to mid-year, see how we're doing. And then a lot of the requests were from Parks and Facilities, so we're gonna let the new Parks and Facility Director look at what Chris kind of recommended, and we'll work that out. But I need to thank Drew for his incredible patience. The guy dang near tore his right foot off in the middle of all this and just kept coming back. And so we really appreciate you, Drew. Ann Mays is not here tonight. I appreciate Ann Mays's expertise in the carryover. She's the ball and knowledge in the football. But also more importantly, Natalie stepped in because Ann was busy with the ERP and Drew was working on the budget. And I really need to thank Natalie for stepping up and helping get this budget put together and passed. I walked in the other day and I looked at her screen and I'm like, that's not HR. It was all the FTEs and the compensation changes and 2.3%, 3 point whatever percent and totaling all out. So Natalie really put on her finance hat and dug in, and I appreciate her. And then I think really Nicole. I thanked all the department heads earlier for their narratives, their thoughtful goals. I love this book, and I kind of relate it to the audit report. If you wanted to know how finances in the district worked, you would read the audit report. And if you don't know how everything works when you're done reading the audit report, read it again and you will. It's an incredible document. This document to me tells the amazing story of the district and what we did and what we're trying to accomplish and how it relates to strategic plans. It's full of vibrant pictures and people and parks and programs and policies. And I'm just so proud of everybody. And I have to attribute a lot of that to Nicole Roa and working with our designer and printer, gathering the narratives from everybody. So Natalie's doing the numbers, Nicole's grabbing the names and the narratives, and it's a real team effort. So I'm just so proud of everybody for what we did. And I am, I'm not gonna lie to you. Thank you for passing it. I'm a little nervous with some of the things we said because it's just not my style to do anything that's not a balance or a positive. But I really feel confident that if at any time in our history we can do this and absorb this and be just fine, it's right now. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. I need to announce the vote. It was 5 in favor, so it passed unanimously. And I want to thank staff. It was a great budget, and thank you, the rest of the board members for passing it.
Thank you, Drew.
Thank you.
Thank you, Drew. Come along home. We'll see you later.
Thank you. Yeah.
Bye. Bye, Stumbleina.
Okay, we're going to unfinished business 9.1, which is a change order and a budget change for Canyon Middle School Sports Field, one of our favorite projects.
They all seem really low today. Tonight, the board will consider approval of a change order and a budget change for the Canyon Middle School project. As you know, the district has an agreement with Castro Valley Unified School District to improve the sports field in Canyon Middle School, whereby we're splitting the construction cost 50. The project began construction in April, and then in early May, the contractor just got a high water table in the area of the sports field. So they talked with the design team, the engineers, and the contractor on how to best solve that problem. The solution they came up with is to lime treat the soil, which is a chemical process that stabilizes the soil. And then they suspect that the water is coming from that hillside on the north side of the fields, and that it's subsurface drainage. So there is, as part of the plans, a V ditch on that hillside, but to further capture that subsurface water, they're recommending that we also do a French drain on the upside of that V ditch, which digging a trench down, filling it with gravel, and putting a perforated drain line, to pick up the subsurface water, and then take that as well to wet side drainage, storm drainage system. So the total cost of those improvements was about $776,000. Hard's 50% portion of that is $388,121. It would require a budget change, and staff is recommending that we reallocate.
Oh, everybody's off.
All right, turn back on. Thank you for the presentation of this item here. I just have a comment because obviously this is, we're a partner on this, but this is not our project per se, as in our team doing it. But, when I see the enormity of this order so quickly in the beginning of this, I believe, and if I don't get my engineering documents together properly, but this should have been caught initially on an engineering survey, or it was a negative mitigation deck done initially on this, also was on this project. And the geotech report was completed. Got it. Yeah, and just, like I said, I really did, but, this is, obviously the design, the slope, all these issues, I think could have been addressed a little bit early on in this project. I really don't need a definition of it, but I just, it's unfortunate that we're coming back so quickly for such a large item.
Rick, go ahead.
Peter?
You're ready.
Rick just spoke.
Yeah.
So I have a couple questions, some concerns. I understand that my understanding from reading this and from common sense is that the issue is that the north side of the field is moist, and help me if I'm correct here on this, and that the French drain is to mitigate further moisture, and then raising the grade 12 inches and adding lime and everything to it is to solidify the soil so it doesn't collapse and so that it'll be more structurally sound.
You're not raising the grade, are you?
Oh, your mic's on now.
No, the mic is not working. The mic's
Why don't you come and take Chris's real quick, just so we have this.
So my understanding is that so that they're not we're not raising 12 inches of soil, we're treating 12 inches of soil, 12 to 18 inches. The problem, from my understanding, is kind of severe in 3 places, but not widespread around the whole thing. And then, yes, the French drain is meant to alleviate some of that subsurface water getting back down, which was not observable before construction.
So here's my concern. My big concern is that basically we're mitigating an issue that's an existing issue with this site, and that the V ditches that are up on the hill are not doing their job. And I'm worried that it's going to be similar to Taper Park issue, that the V ditches failed, and then we had a big storm, and so water and soil and things came down. And I look at that hillside, and as somebody who spent a lot of time up there when I was a kid, and now my daughter goes there, and I've seen how that they don't even let the kids go up on the hillside anymore, and we used to run it. It's not. I'm willing to bet that there's an issue there, and I would be surprised if I would hope that somebody would go up there and actually look at the hillside, because I think that's the bigger issue. And if those V ditches were functioning properly, we wouldn't have to mitigate the soil. We wouldn't have to do a French drain along there. And what I'm really worried about is that this is going to be a drop in the bucket, and that if we have another atmospheric river, that it's going to get even worse, and it's going to overwhelm whatever happens with the French drain coming off the hillside.
I think that's part of the solution, is that we did have atmospheric rivers in past, several past storms, and that this would be the solution to mitigate those issues from future storms. That's my understanding from the geotech
And
report.
then Director Rosen, like we discussed, earlier today, I am happy to figure out who owns that parcel, the state of those V ditches, and let them know that we're not used to putting $7 million into a project, and the people up the hill who we had a few problems with that project, whoever that property belongs to, like, we need to maintain the ditches. So we're gonna go back, and I am in agreement with the school district and the contractor that we should do this. But I completely hear your concerns and feel we need to go up that hill and make sure that those V ditches are clean and that it's being taken care of in a responsible manner to keep our newest asset and the money we put into that from getting, I would hate to see a big mudslide roll over the all synthetic field or something. So we'll go up there and see who owns those. Chris, you can help me, and how they get cleaned and if they're being taken care of.
And that's it. And thank you for summarizing that. I just want to clarify. I mean, that's not our responsibility. If there's a problem with the drainage that's on that hill, that's not our problem. But we just want to make sure that it's functional so it doesn't become our problem. That's my concern. That's my big concern. And I would like to have that information before I could vote to give them the money right now for this.
Well,
And hearing your concerns, I'll tell you, yes, I would hope that we'd still consider the money, because we can't stop this project. This project's related to other soccer fields, getting it done, moving people around. We have a couple other synthetics that we really need to get to, but we have no space to put anybody without this. So I do appreciate you, and I appreciate your opinion and why you would maybe not be in favor of this. Unfortunately, we're bringing it to you because it's kind of like a choke point on the project right now.
I get it.
Yeah.
If I may speak. Hi, can you hear me?
We can.
Hi, I'm Sharon Truquintz. I'm the Director of Facilities Construction at Castro Valley Unified School District. So if I can maybe help give some clarity and hopefully answer some questions. Do you want me to wait until everyone's made their comments and questions, or do you want me to start now? I just wanted to let you know that I'm here.
well, I'd like to make a comment if I may. So this is a new field of a different system. I imagine that if it was a green turf field, that this water problem would be very minor and not really manifest itself that much. It would just be, and it's been there for years, and I don't know if it's ever had a flooding problem in the past. But with the synthetic turf, as I've read the report, the synthetic turf needs a firmer base, and so it's almost like you're trying to solidify it and compact it. So without being an engineer, it just seems like this would be a reasonable thing. This is a unique field in the sense that it's in the bottom of a bowl compared to other fields which are flat and have no hills around them. So this might be the best solution at this time. I don't like it, but every time you do a park, you always find something underground that you weren't prepared for, and this may be one of those things that's unavoidable. So with that, if you'd like to make a comment.
Yes, so just wanted to talk about some of the concerns with the groundwater and the surface, the subsurface runoff. So that the current design, as it is without the change order, is putting in a brand new V ditch that's along the north side of the field. And that is designed to capture all of the runoff off of the hillside. And that accounts for the V ditches along the hillside not working. so that the landscape architect and engineers had essentially assumed, based on looking at it, that we're just going to capture the whole hillside. So that that is already in the project. So that's not part of our change order. So that our change order is really looking at the subsurface water. You know, after it's rain, it's dry, it's summer now. And so that they're still noticing groundwater as they're digging that. And it was initially in the north end, and they're like, oh, maybe it's just irrigation coming down. And as they're working, they found a few more spots in different parts of the field. And it's not the whole field. And so that during the geotech investigation, they did several borings around the project area, and they did not find groundwater in those investigations, so that there was not a recommendation to lime treat. But there was a note that says if groundwater is found later, that would be the recommendation to treat it chemically. So just wanted to provide some clarity on that, and that's why we're coming back as we find more of this unforeseen condition happening. And and similar to the way the contractor describes it is that we're prepping the cake, the base that the artificial turf and the grass is going to go on, so that we want it firm. So right now we have pockets of soft soil right now that has water, or we have clay soil that's expansive, and potentially that will cause upheave or shrinkage in our field, and that we can dig out that, put more AB in, gravel, but it may show up in another spot as water just travels, right? So that's why we have chosen to recommend lime treating, because we want to, like you said, prevent future potential damage and really protect our investment, right? I think that is all I have. Is there any more questions?
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. That clarifies a lot of what I was concerned about. I'm happy to hear that there was anticipation of an additional V ditch, because that was my primary concern. And thank you for clarifying adding the lime because of clay soil and it's expansive and contracts. I get that. Okay. Thank you. That helps me understand what's going on. Thank you.
Yeah, and also, excuse me. So we also went back and looked through the geotech report in terms of what they say in terms of landslides and the slope instability. And we actually are not on the map by the state and, in CGS on landslides. So there's no signs of slope movement. There's some small corrosion here and there, but to the geotech engineer, we actually have a very firm foundation, because we're actually really close to bedrock in many, many places. Because when the school site was first built, we cut like 70 feet out of that hillside to create the flat areas. And so the hillside and all the landscape around it's pretty much been there for the last 50 plus years.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments? Okay, hearing none, I'd like to get a motion.
I'll move.
Moved by Director Hatcher. Well, I'll second. My name is Lou Andrade. I'll second. Okay, any other comments? Okay, if not, please vote. Okay, the motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Item 9.2, acceptance of the Mission and Maddox Interim Activation Project, Unity Park.
Good evening, Board of Directors. Diane Hardy, Bond Project Manager. The motion before you is to accept the Mission and Maddox Interim Activation Project for the Board of Directors to consider adoption of a resolution to accept the Mission and Maddox Interim Activation Project as defined now in the district as Unity Park. Construction began in December of 2024, and the project is now substantially complete. The project is comprised of several activities that have been added to this space that include pickleball courts, basketball courts, sports courts, bike challenge areas, designated food truck vendor courts, multi-use courts, and futsal courts. And it just has been optimized for a bunch of creative uses, however the neighborhood and community want to activate what we provided for them. And so we're just very happy to bring that to you for approval to close this project. And so staff recommends that the Board of Directors by motion adopt a resolution authorizing the general manager to accept completion of the construction contract for Unity Park, and to authorize the general manager to execute any documents necessary to close out the contract per staff recommendations. And that is my presentation for the night.
Okay, thank you. Peter.
So I want to thank you for this, because this was not just paint on concrete, which is what we were originally selling this as. That there were some challenges on this that was a lot more difficult than paint on concrete. There were some grading issues, correct? And there were a whole lot of these other things. And you still somehow, through some wizardry, kept it in budget without change order issues. I want to commend you for that.
Thank you.
So thank you.
Any other comments or questions?
Yeah.
Director Hatcher.
Yeah, I mean, this is a really, I mean, again, we know this is the four corners of our district, and so it's a very marquee spot though. So a question in regards to the fencing and signage. Are we gonna have any permanent signage there? And then is that just a chain link gonna be the fence of the future? And
That's
present?
right. The chain link that's there that was installed when we did the initial demolition was put in with the provision that it had the sort of permanence about it, that it would provide a certain level of security around the site for at least this interim activation. The signage is intended to convey the message that this is in fact interim. And so we haven't put one of our monument signs on the site. The signs were installed for Unity Park today.
Okay, good. I don't think I saw it today. And you know, I got these pickleball people like camping out on my front doorstep. So when are the gates open for? Okay.
We're Jim Wheeler, General Manager. We're very sorry we can't tell you the exact date.
Right.
As you are so well aware, all of you have been involved in government for a long time in these projects. The devil's in the detail. And I call it, we're in the blue masking tape period if we were in a building. And this is where we go through and mark what's right, what's wrong, what's accepted, what's not accepted. There's probably a punch list for this project, I'm sure somewhere.
We've done a pre-punch list prior to substantial completion, and there is one item left to close.
Yeah, so so I'm sorry. There's only one item left on the punch list, but, and that's great. And thank you for that. But what I'm trying to say is that sometimes the devil's in the detail. We've had some issues with the landscaper, I think I was told by the Capital and Planning Development Director, and the plants that went in and the timeliness of that and the establishment period. And so the park will be there for a long time, but opening it when it's ready is always a critical concern.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else? So I have a question. What does interim activation mean? I mean, are we gonna do a regular formal opening at some point, or?
Interim activation is probably a term that's not really, it's interim, but the interim period is probably longer than anyone would imagine. And yes, there will be a full opening and park dedication and celebration at this particular park.
Okay. All right. That's the only question I have. Any other comments? Hearing none. Motion, please.
Yeah, I'll move 9.2.
Moved by Director Hatcher,
I'll second.
seconded by Director Lambman.
No, I was doing that to spur you on.
Oh, okay. Let's move it on. Okay, please vote.
Yeah, ping pong is.
I know, it's just a concrete one, just like, it's very cool outdoor.
Ping pong paddles connected via cable, so you can't see. All connected to a cable, so you can't see.
They've got little chips in them so we can track them.
Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Yeah, it'd be great to get that open. Everyone knows people who want to just tear down that fence and get on it, you know, so they're all excited. Okay, new business, approval of agreements for on-call grant writing services.
Good evening, honorable board members and directors. My name is Kimberly Nguyen, and I am BPAC Bond Program Admin Coordinator. And tonight, the board member will consider approving the professional service agreement for 5 firms to provide on-call grant writing services. These services will be available to all departments within the HART projects, and for park improvement and facility upgrades and recreational programs. In April, the district staff issued a request for a proposal from qualified firms to provide grant writing service on as needed basis. And on May 23rd, late May, the district received proposal from 5 firms. After reviewing the submission, the staff determined that each firm has the necessary qualification experience. So at this time, staff recommends that the board of director by motion approve professional service agreement for the on-call writing services with the following firm: CWE, Devers Consultant, Green Impact, HTA, and Villa Civil.
Okay, thank you. Any comments or questions? Director Rosen?
All right,
I thought you had.
no, I did. I was just trying to think about this. So I actually asked General Manager Wheeler about this because I was unaware that we hadn't been writing all the grants in-house. And this is a yes. So I think this is exciting. I think that there's a good return on investment potential here. I think that having some work within our staff for consulting or to refine it and through the bond team, I think that will really help. But having people that do this all the time is probably a more efficient way of guaranteeing that we'll get a better score on our grant applications and things. And I think that this should help us out immensely. And I'm very thankful that it's happening. So thanks.
Thank you.
Question? Director Hatcher?
Yeah, I agree. That was, during the bond process was really an important time to look at the leveraging of our ability to get more funding. And so I semi appreciate that comment, Director Rosen, because, I had initially said, hey, let's just get a permanent, someone that the grant guru, to write. But I think this combination approach between our staff's abilities mixed with the professionalism of these, and we've sat and had these deeper conversations at multiple events with these grant writers, they got the details. And I think that the nuances of writing these grants, any grant has to be given to the professionals, not saying our staff can't do it. When I got here, their staff was writing $1,000, $2,000, $5,000 grants, and it just wasn't as efficient as having the consultant component of it be with the professional, and that the expertise of the programming and the needs of the district come from the staff. So I think it's been a great blend, and the on-call list is like our same capital team, having the contractors and landscape architects. So I think it's just another heightened professionalism that we've attained, and we practice. So good work.
All right, thanks. Have we used any of these consultants before?
No.
HTA.
We've used
2019 HTA only.
Yeah, so HTA has been our only on-call for the past 3 years. We've used Green Impact through the Trust for Public Land and are working on them for the Valley View Park. So it'll be nice to have them on. We haven't worked with the other three, but this is an opportunity for them, if they won't work with the district, to keep an eye out for those grant opportunities that would be a benefit to us so that they get work with us.
And they all have great track records for other people as well. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah. Okay.
in the public sector.
Okay, great.
And then
I think the other thing to point out, which, Megan, you said you might have an estimate of like money spent versus money received on the on-call grant on the HTA?
yeah, so some of the grant writing we've gotten through GPL, that's for free. There's no way to estimate. But for HTA, we for the return on investment, the fees paid to them were just 1% of the grant money they bought in. So there is a huge return on investment.
Well, I think it's great to do this. I agree. It's professional. I think that we used to do was sort of a joke. It was in-house and it was, just not, whenever you have time, go ahead and write a grant the way it used to be. So, and it wasn't very effective. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't very effective and, but in any event, this is because they can also guide us as to how to approach a project so that it's eligible, So that's really good as well. Okay, with that, Director Lambda?
Sorry, just in the interest of full disclosure, so I am now a professional grant writer and I do work for a company, but I don't work for any of these companies. And so I feel that I can vote on this item.
And I would like to thank Director Lambden because we had some lengthy email conversations with our general counsel about her role with another grant writing form and what if this grant comes up, and I think we sorted it all out. So I appreciate your patience on that and I do also appreciate your forthcoming transparency.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. May I have a motion? Maybe Director Hodges would like to make a motion.
I would like to make a motion.
Okay. Moved by Director Hodges.
I'll second.
Second by Director Hatcher. Okay. If there's no other comments, please vote. Great, thank you. Okay, motion carries unanimously. Other business, so we have brief informational items here. I'm going to start with, let's start with Director Hodges. Do you want to go first?
Sure. Last time I talked to you guys about, when I went to, I got the red on. The June 3rd, at, where was it? I'm sorry.
Fairview Mac.
Yeah, the Fairview Mac, and there was a discussion about PCA, which is thank you. And I was just concerned if anybody got the message and
The Hayward Area Recreation and Park District and Thomas O'Malley filed for many, most of our parks, worked with East Bay Regional Parks, worked with the county, worked with key tree counts. I feel like we covered PCAs very well as a district. Filing to have these priority conservation areas mapped out and done. Yes.
it's done. Okay.
Thomas O'Malley was all over this thing. We worked with the RCD, which is the bigger conservation district out by Pleasanton and Livermore and for the county. Yeah, we were very involved and we've suggested many, which include basically every one of our parks.
Okay, so I can take it back to the Fairview Mac and
Or
say,
you could just tell the general manager of the Fairview district up there or somebody just to reach out to us. We'd be happy to have someone send them a whole report on what we did. That's simple.
well, that's pretty much what I told them, but I wanted to confirm it was happening, so. Thank
It's
you.
definitely happening.
Okay.
Director Rosen.
Thank you. I think Sorry, I was trying to access my calendar here. Thursday night, I saw Director Hodges, Director Hatcher, Director Andrade, General Manager Wheeler. Were you? And got to see the stage all out on the downtown streets. It was very nice to have it very prominent, along with the team that had the climbing wall and a couple booths and the Hard Foundation and all the staff. People were milling around hard. Hard's presence was very well, was prominent in everybody's mind there. So I was very happy to see that. A lot of people having fun downtown streets. It's only going to get busier. That was great. And then on Saturday, Director Hatcher and I barbecued for the Hayward Youth Commission down at Memorial Park. And I have to say, huge thank you to staff for helping with getting the barbecue there. And for Jen and the team, Jen Tibbetts was on top of everything. The kids were having fun. Took a while to get the barbecue going. Maybe it's operator error on part of that. That's on me. But everyone had fun, and I think it was really good. I'm continuously impressed by those students and future leaders that go through that program, and just their demeanor and their interest level, and I think we're in a good spot. So I was happy to be there for that, and I think we had fun. It's a little bit of work, but we had fun.
Okay, Director Lemon.
Thank you. Just a really big thank you to the recreation team. Was part of a nonprofit that used the Ashland Roots Center on Saturday, and everything went really swimmingly, and everybody said what a beautiful facility it is and are so excited to be there. And so many thanks for that. Great work.
Director Hatcher.
Yeah, thanks. I sit on the Citizens Advisory Committee, and it was the Sulphur Creek presentation, which we saw the CAC weigh in on. Was great to hear what the very engaged CAC talk about at the time. And also Noel did a presentation on the after-school sports program that was very interesting, and it was very well received, innovative, and it was, Adrian, good to see the enthusiasm, not only from our staff in presenting an after-school program to that magnitude, but the kind of evolutionary where we haven't really done that as he kind of stated. There was some commentary from some of the participants on that program, and hopefully in your report out you can kind of mention a thing or two, because I was very inspired by it, and you can tell that the rest of the CAC was impressed with it. And that's kind of how Hard was created initially for after-school programming. And it's kind of neat to see us kind of getting deeper into that. Agreed, the Hayward Street Party was very Hard heavy. The chamber directors and CEO were very, appreciative and thankful for what us being a part of it on many levels. And agree, this we all know this may have not happened a couple weeks ago, and so they were very clear that this is a great moment for what the chamber's starting to offer, and also kind of seeing what we can have involved in that also. I did attend the Alameda County Arts Commission at the Cherryland Community Center. It was a Meet the Artist panel for the upcoming Cherryland art project. It's in the beginning phases here. Some, again, really detailed artists with a lot of creativity that's coming into this arena. And I just make a plug for continuing to have Hard look into an art policy more definitive on with moving forward, and how we look at our projects and being part of the future strategic plan process. Yes. And of course Director Rosen said cooking. We cooked burgers, we cooked hot dogs, we cooked veggie burgers, we cooked chicken, we cooked chili, we pulled pork. I mean, these youth commissioners had a variety of food to choose from. And maybe operator error, it takes really two people to mess things up, one person to fix it. And so it was a good time, and agreed, the commission, I've kind of made sure I stayed on that for many years, and just watching the evolution of the care of the agencies, as well as just again using the word a few more times, the professionalism of the agencies and the dedicating themselves to, giving that demographic the voice. And the conversations I have with them are words that I mimic and echo the rest of the year. And I think that it's a testament to, I think it's a very, having hard there, and the city and the HUSD. I just feel that, we represent well, and it's good to see the results from that. And it's very clear that the kids are appreciating that. And there was some discussion about, kind of the future of, having, the alumni come back. And I think that once they do is they become an advocate or a voice of that. So it was great. And staff was very well. Thank you.
I think Director Hodges had a
Yeah.
addition.
If you guys got this much magazine, it clears up a lot of things about impact fees. It's called Debunking 3 Common Myths About Impact Fees. It's short read, but it gets right to the heart of things. So I hope everybody, it's on page 9 and 10.
We are very, very connected with CSDA legislation and impact fees. We send those calls and appreciate that.
Okay. Thank you.
We definitely.
I attended a foundation board meeting and we talked about basically there was a presentation about Sulphur Creek and what the project is going to look like, and trying to get a little buzz going. I think there is a lot of buzz going. So I think that's foundation seems willing to take that challenge on, at least at this point. So it's moving along pretty good. I attended the HASPA meeting later that week, and HASPA was really kind of getting together its foundational documents, rules and budget and so on, rules like membership fees and so on. And Director Lamnon made 1 or 2 good suggestions that were incorporated into the I guess bylaws. Well, yeah, the policies, I believe. Yeah, right. So that went pretty well. And I attended the street fair as well, and it was fun. There was a lot of people there. Yeah, kind of missed the cars, but otherwise it was pretty good. And we were very prominent because we're right in the intersection, which was kind of fun. So that gives us a lot of visibility. And that's it for me. If there's nothing else, staff, please.
Good evening, President Andrade, Honorable Board of Directors, James Wheeler, General Manager. I have a few announcements. Yes, the car people weren't real happy at downtown streets. But they were told that then basically you need to organize, someone needs to take over and organize better because you have frustrated the chamber for a couple of years now.
Mm-hmm.
And so they were just like, not now. So we're actually think we have people working on a plan for that to try to bring that back in a more orderly fashion. Sorry, I gotta get my notes. Okay. Downtown streets. I think the most incredible thing for me at Downtown Seats was seeing the city planning booth with a survey. And they were surveying what residents want. And it was funny, the number 1 thing they want is community events, Family Feud. Number 2 answer, recreation. I will tell you, I was very proud to see them doing that. I told them we will be reaching out for their results to see how they compare to our own city survey, our community-wide survey, to see if our results kind of gist and that we're on the right track. I continue to also wonder why I just can't be embraced as that agency that does those things for them while they're asking about what people want from the city and the city planning department's survey. So I'm hoping to just continue to fight to feel like the official park and recreation service provider. So we'll keep just working with them for that. Tomorrow night, I will be at the city council meeting at 7:00 until whenever the award of the construction for La Vista Park happens. I was asked by the mayor if I'd be sitting in the crowd in case something comes up, and I am happy to do that. Thursday is a holiday for us for Juneteenth. The district offices and services will be closed. Mr. Peterson's retirement farewell cowboy giddy up roundup hootenanny will be on Friday at 11 o'clock at the Row Ranch. We hope you will all be able to come and help us, for lack of a better term, roast Chris. The only committee meeting next week will be capital. We're just at that time, we have done a lot of personnel work. We have done a lot of budget work. We've done a lot of everything work. Programs are running. So, but Megan would like to give you a capital update because I think she was on a well-earned but too short probably vacation during the last capital meeting. So, I will be out next week, but I will be completely available. I'm not going anywhere. I'm just not coming to work. I have exceeded my vacation thing and I haven't accrued for about 8 weeks. So I'm going to try to burn some time, but not really. And then I think the last announcement is our new Parks and Facility Maintenance Director, Dwayne Taylor, started today and will be transitioning and shadowing with Chris. And I want to thank Natalie and Chris for working on a transition and orientation plan and bringing him in. It's, excuse me, it's probably the best we've done, bringing in somebody and doing an orientation for him, but it's been a while since we hired a director. So I think that's another part of it. But I think my last announcement, thank you for approving the job descriptions tonight. We went out for an administrative services director. It's our second recruitment. We keep finding great finance director candidates, but nobody who can do the whole thing. So we've attempted to kind of separate it out for a small, little bit more annually to try to do that. And then we're going to reopen the finance director for 2 weeks tomorrow, knowing that we have a number one candidate that we like, but we will compare everything that comes into that person. And if we want to interview and reach out more, we will. And then just so you know in advance, the last piece of the puzzle will be to figure out what Ms. Roa's actual title will be. Is it PIO, catch-all, the catalyst that holds it all together? I don't know, but you might see one more little job description come through, an announcement to try to round out this team and get everybody where we need them and they want to be. So thank you.
Great.
President Andrade, honorable board members, Natalie Wong, Human Resources Manager. I just wanted to say thank you for approving the budget for next fiscal year.
Thank you.
Good evening, Honorable Board of Directors. Chris Peterson, Parks and Facilities Maintenance Director for the last time. So one of my colleagues said I had missed this previous report out, but if I hadn't, please stop me. Feel free to stop me. I was approached by a gentleman that would take his disabled adult son to the parks, and Christian Pankey in particular. Could not get him on. We didn't have any ADA swings out there, and did not have a place to take him. I pointed out, Mia's Dream and a couple of the Castro Valley parks where we did have the swing. And so I sent staff out to assess, our CPSI staff to assess the play equipment to see if we could put an adult ADA swing on the structure, if it would support it, if we had the clearances that we needed. We did. And so we actually replaced one of the swings with the adult ADA swing so that he was able to take his son to the neighborhood park.
Yeah, we told me that.
And was quite happy.
You're
Quite pleased. Second thing, I just really wanted to thank the board and the district for paying me for the last almost 36 years to do what I love to do. And it will definitely be a change. I want to thank past General Manager Paul McCreary and the board and my wife for believing in me to do the job. They had more belief in me than I did. And hopefully I've been able to serve the district well, and didn't accomplish everything I'd like to, but it definitely will be a change, but I will miss the district and definitely the staff.
Give you a week before you come there.
Yeah, I'll still bugging them. I'll call them up. Hey, there's trash in this park. No.
Well, we're gonna miss you too, Chris, and you leave with a class act. I mean, the last thing you did is pretty classy to do, so we appreciate that. Thank you.
Good evening, President Andrade and Honorable Board of Directors, Adrian Lee Bird, Director of Recreation, Arts and Community Services. It is our busy season right now, but all of our camps are in full swing. You'll notice a pickup of some of our community events. We're really trying to get out there, hearing what the community wants. We had a nice VIP on the 7th that Director Hatcher was at Meek. Thursday, Downtown Streets, and next one will have an even bigger presence. Friday, we had our movie night at Mount Eden with over 100 people. Saturday, we had our teddy bear picnic and ice cream social, also another 100 people. This Saturday, I will be here all Saturday. We're having a family art day at Adobe Park, and right after, well, we're also having our welcome to summer pool party at Arroyo, kicking off our free rec swim there. And that evening, we'll have our black and white ball at Sorensdale. We have another cool new teen event coming up later in the month called The Gathering. It's Magic the Gathering, Dungeons and Dragons, board games, all things nerdy and fun. So that will be awesome, serving a different population. And then as Director Hatcher mentioned, we wrapped up our Play Hard series at our South Hayward schools, served over 220 kids, all free sports leagues with 5 different sports. And they're actually joining us this summer for free summer camp as well. And for our soft launch with Ashland Roots Center, we're actually offering kids from the neighborhood free camps and classes all June. So we have those kids in our, as well as other kids in our building, just until we kind of get everything working smoothly. And that's it. Thank you.
Good evening, Honorable Board. Megan Tiernan, Capital Planning and Development Director. This Wednesday, as part of the energy efficiency project, PG&E will be putting in a new transformer for the district office. And unfortunately, we couldn't get them to do the work after hours or on weekends. So between 9 a.m. and 1 p.m., we're going to lose power for about 2 hours here at the DO. But it is a good opportunity to test our emergency generator and to see how it works.
What day are they doing it?
Wednesday.
They couldn't do it Thursday or Friday?
Nope.
Friday, well, yeah.
They're off Thursday. We tried to get them.
Just get it done. Just do it.
Yeah, we tried to.
Okay. Anytime PG&E offers
Yeah,
to
do
do
it.
anything for us, we just stop and
Do
take
it.
what we can get.
Yeah, take what you can get, all right? I did neglect one thing. My daughter graduated on Saturday, and I was down there. Yeah, thank you. And I was very proud of her. So that was fun. That was San Luis Obispo. Okay, and I have one announcement to make.
Director Andrade, real quick, I saw the greatest picture of 4 Pismo Beach lifeguards, all with their San Luis Obispo ribbons around their necks.
Yeah. Great.
On a lifeguard stand. It was pretty cool. They were all Pismo Beach lifeguards that graduated.
Great. Yeah, Nicole, I'm sorry. You know, you're at the end of the line here. I don't see you.
Not a problem. President Andrade and Honorable Board of Directors, Nicole Espinosa Roa, Assistant to the General Manager and Public Information Officer. I just wanted to share that the Public Safety Department, along with myself and Hayward Police Department, provided a secondary training to the Sorensdale staff. This is the second part to a 3-part training that we're doing with them to cover the concerns of workplace safety and active shooters and the lockdown procedures, so that they're getting some additional training, and it definitely has been valued and appreciated by the staff.
Great. Okay, well, I'm going to adjourn this meeting in honor of Chris Peterson and his 35 years of dedicated service, recognizing his lasting impact on the district and on the community. With that.